Folks. My name's Whaley. I'm one of the co-founders here at Teal. I'm joined, as usual, by my partner in crime, Reid Johnston, a co-founder, and also what's your title, Reid?
Chief Intelligent Transformation Officer. That's a
Fantastic.
mouthful.
Yeah, really describes what you do. But that said, we're here for our monthly Microsoft tips and tricks. We got some good ones today, I think. So
Absolutely.
let's get started. While you're sharing your screen, Reid, I'll just share that we did Copilot tips and tricks last week, and we had a huge attendance. And I'm wondering if it was because Jill was on board, and she's not on
Probably.
board today. So our attendance is a little lower today, but we'll have to get Jill
People
on with
are
us in
sick
the
of
future.
us.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to go over some ones that I think are awesome. The first one is Meet, and ever since we talked about this, I've used it every day.
Yeah, I didn't even really realize this existed until I just randomly came across it as I was preparing for another meeting. Teams has a meet window, which will give you kind of a forecast of what's coming up and also let you look at what's happened as far as your meetings go. So the way that you find it on my left-hand side here, I click on the three little dots, and that lets me view more apps. And then I can click on or search for Meet, and it pops up here. So it's this little button, click Meet. And what this does is this will show me a comprehensive listing of all of my upcoming meetings, so meetings that are happening today, as well as recent meetings that I had in the past. The really cool part about this is you can see it shows where I was mentioned and it shows the tasks from each meeting and it shows documents that were referenced or shared in each meeting. So it's a great way of like really quickly tracking, okay, what was that meeting? I don't remember. Oh yeah, it was this same page meeting and we looked at this document. So any of these things you can click on, it shows there I missed a meeting as well. But I could click and see where I was mentioned, changing communication methods. So really neat if you're trying to catch up on your meetings. And then also you can see what's coming up here at the top. And then of course you can filter by what you missed or what the content was, where were you mentioned, and so on. So
Couple questions, Reid. Couple questions.
yeah.
Did you actually show how you find Meet and how you pin it?
Yeah,
And
so to
also,
find it,
Reid, sorry to cut you off.
yeah.
You're on a Mac.
Yeah, today I'm on a Mac, but this is the same on a Mac or a PC.
Okay.
I've switched my day-to-day use computer to a Mac. We have a lot of clients that have Macs. There's really feature parity across Mac and PC from a security standpoint and a capability standpoint. So I bounce back and forth just so that I've got really good comfort with both. But to find that Meet button, it's under here. It's under View More Apps, the three little dots on your left-hand navigation bar. And then you'd search for Meet. Now I already have it on my screen here, so I can right click and click Pin, and now it'll stay there. So now I don't have to search for and then I could drag it around too if I want it, at the top.
Oh, didn't know that. Didn't know that
Yep,
because I
yep.
never tried that. So, a couple more questions or points are that I'm constantly going back to meetings to figure out what was said and to look at the recaps, especially sales meetings. Um, and the way I've done that in the past, which I never, I haven't done since I've learned about this, is I go to the calendar and then
Yeah,
I click on the meeting, and then the meeting opens, and then you have to click like three more buttons to get it in your browser so you can query it. So now I just go to Meet, and I also pinned it, and everyone we've shown has sort of done the same thing.
yeah. So
So
right on the right-hand side, you can open up any recap of any meeting. You could jump into the chat of any meeting and then see the documents and super helpful. I can't believe I wasn't using this until recently.
yeah, I've never gone back into my calendar to a previous meeting since I learned about this.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to surprise you with one or sidetrack us, but there's a little icon in on the left there that says Teal. What is that?
So this little teal icon, this is our support portal. So we integrate with Teams so our clients can connect with us on phone or chat or email. Teams is the way a lot of our clients are using chat. So we deploy a Teal app right into their Teams, and it allows them to open up support tickets. It gives them some helpful links. They can go into chat and see different tickets that they've created. It's just another way to connect with us. Yeah.
Cool. So that was a little sidetrack back to sort of meetings and agendas and teams. The next one I think we want to talk about was collaborative agendas, which you are a huge fan of.
Yeah.
And we've talked about a little bit in past tips and tricks webinars, but let's go into a little more detail on it because I started using this as well, and I find it very helpful.
Yeah. So here we're looking at my calendar a couple of weeks out. I've got a leadership meeting on the 19th. And if I open up this leadership meeting, um, there's a couple of things that we can show here. Did you want to cover the collaborative agenda first, or did you want to cover
I
preparing
think
for a
now that
meeting?
you opened it this way, we should cover prepare for a meeting first.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So when I open up a meeting that's going to happen in the future, if I have a Copilot license, which I do, I've got this prepare for your meeting section. And what this does is Copilot will actually look at that meeting event that's on my calendar. It's going to look at data in my environment, and it's going to prepare kind of an AI based, hey, here's how you get ready for this meeting. So this is really useful if it's a meeting that maybe happens once a month or once a quarter, and it's kind of hard for me to remember what I what we were talking about last quarter or last month. So it's talking about reviewing financial metrics, prepare to address the status of transition plans, be ready to talk about security KPIs. So pretty cool. I can click on talking points or really any of these little buttons here, and it's going to open up a Copilot window. And literally, I was just doing this prepping for the meeting, and it worked. And now it's given me an error, of course. Story of my life. But Copilot would pop up, and it's going to take this little prompt, and it's going to give me some further feedback about the meeting in my Copilot side panel. So that's pretty neat. But I wanted to show this prepare for a meeting because this is different than if I go into my Outlook. Let me just do that real quick here. I'm going to pull this over to the other screen. I'm going to go into my Outlook and I'm going to open up that same meeting here. And I'll pull this window over as well. So if I look at that same meeting in Outlook, I don't have anything helpful. But this is a Teams meeting. So if I'm using Teams to view my calendar, I get much more valuable information about that meeting. So that's really neat. I think I think it's a really helpful thing if you're using Teams to use Teams to navigate to the different meetings, and then you can pull in the meeting insights and see other content, as well as what you wanted to talk about was this agenda. Should we
But
talk
before
about
we
that
get there,
now?
Reid, a couple questions came in.
Sure.
So if you have a meeting that's not a Teams meeting, let's say it's an in-person meeting, but you're viewing it because you're recommended, and we've recommended in the past, use the Teams calendar instead of the Outlook calendar because there's more flexibility and functionality. You just pointed out a lot of great reasons to do that. But let's say it's not a Teams meeting, but you're using your team calendar to view an in-person meeting. Can
Hmm.
you do the same things?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're still going to have this prepare for a meeting panel, and it will still look in the system for any context kind of related to the title of the meeting, maybe when it happened before, maybe who the attendees are. It's still going to try to find as much context as it can. And remember, though, you need that Copilot license. You need that $30 a month, or now Microsoft reduced the price. We talked about that recently. You need that license in order to get access to your internal data.
Right. But even if it's not a Teams meeting, it's an in-person meeting. You can use a Teams calendar to get the extra data, especially
Correct.
if you set the meeting up the way you're about to show, which is sort of the last thing we wanted to get to today,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, using the collaborative agenda.
Yeah, so let's start from scratch on that. I'm going to close this here. I'm going to go back to my calendar. We'll go back to today. I'm just going to create a new event, just like I'd be setting up for a meeting. And I'll say, hey, prep for Friday conference. I'll invite you. And what we're used to when we book a meeting is we're used to kind of this agenda section. So talk about sales, talk about ops, talk about blah, blah, blah. When I type into this section of the meeting invite, it's a static piece of content that no one else can contribute to. But if I scroll down a little bit towards the bottom here, I've got this add agenda section. And this is the part that's really powerful and really cool. If I click on add agenda, you'll see it kind of transforms a little bit. It says getting ready. But now it's added. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Now it's added an agenda section and a meeting notes section. And this is a collaborative agenda that any participant who is invited to this meeting can see and edit. So I could put my same topics down here, talk about sales, talk about ops, talk about marketing. And when I send this now to Gar is going to get an invite, and you don't have to worry about this right now because I'm the one sharing, but you'll get an invite for this meeting. And when you open up your meeting in Teams, you'll see this collaborative content down here. And you might have something that you want to add to the meeting. You might want to say, talk about CMMC. And you could type that in and you could add it to the meeting. And then there you are. Looks like you popped in. I can see you there. So now I guess you could try typing something. There's your little pin. And yeah, you're typing. So this is before a meeting. So now we can collaborate before the meeting. And then when we're in the meeting, we can open up this collaborative agenda. And now we can add meeting notes at the bottom. And everybody that attended the meeting can see that as well, because they'll have access to this collaborative content. And then also we can add tasks. And this is a topic for another day, but we can add tasks and assign it to the attendees of the meeting or other people. And those tasks will show up in their Microsoft To-Do or their planner, depending on where we're putting these tasks. So if you're having a meeting and you're just typing in content at the front here, you're missing out on all of this collaboration that can happen before, during, and after the meeting to make sure it's a really effective use of time. Because we've all had those meetings where we say, gosh, that could have been an email. So there you
So
go.
let's summarize this because we went through a lot of things here. But just on this, a question on this particular feature does not require Copilot.
Right. This does not require Copilot. This is built into Teams.
Yeah. So let's just do a quick summary. We got 2 or 3 minutes left here, but today we talked about Meet, how you can go find it and pin it, and then use it to recap the past meetings. That does not require Copilot.
Correct. That's built into Teams.
And then we talked about the collaborative agenda, which you're talking about here. That does not require Teams either.
Or
The
does not
it,
require Copilot either.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
does not require Copilot. But in summary, we've shown today why you want to use the Teams calendar instead of the Outlook calendar. By
Yep.
the way, the last thing that you showed, if I look at my Outlook calendar, I can't type in there collaboratively.
Right. Yep.
I think that's it. That's a lot for today. If anybody has any questions, reach out. Somebody reached out to me last week with some questions. On it was on one of our Copilot, one of the AI tips and tricks we did. And I had like a 20-minute conversation, and we were sharing things back and forth about what she was doing and what we were doing. So, or
Well,
if you want us to do hit any subjects on any of these webinars coming up, feel free to reach out and let us know, and we'll attack that. Reid, thanks so much for the time. Enjoy Ride
yeah,
of Boom, and
thank
we'll
you.
see you guys next month.
All right. See ya. Bye bye.